This episode of Discovery Weekly is brought to you by Podcorn. Podcorn is an amazing marketplace that connects podcasters like us with great sponsorship opportunities. The amazing thing about Podcorn is that you get to set your own rates and directly collaborate with your sponsors. Kirk and I have used this several times, both on kind of both ends of it, and we've had a great time using it.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, like we said, we're going into season 5 of our show, and for the first 4 years, well, almost 4 years, we had no way to pay for our hosting or anything like that except for out of pocket. Podcorn has kind of helped us to be able to have the opportunity to, because of what we're doing, be able to have the option to get enough money to pay for all of our things. Because podcasts aren't free to make, but they are free to listen to.
Yep.
But one of the greatest things about Podcorn, and what really sets it apart from other advertising companies, is that you never have to give up any of your rights as a podcast. You're completely and you're just always in control of the process from the beginning to the end for what sponsor you decide you want to send proposals to, all the way to how your ad sounds. So you've got complete creative control, which is awesome.
Yeah, we really use that because anybody that we're having a sponsor on our show, we read about them. We definitely choose, and when we went out and sent proposals for us to advertise on other people's shows, we did the same thing. It really does give you the opportunity to go out there and find what you think really fits with your show. And Podcorn's mission is to give podcasters transparency, creative freedom, and full control of how and when we monetize. Click the link on the show notes to sign up for Podcorn and start browsing sponsorship opportunities today.
Welcome to Discovery Weekly, formerly known as the other Discovery Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first episode of 2021 of our new... Is it new?
It's not new. It's got a new name, but it's the bonus show from the Podcast Discovery Show.
Yeah, so this show is all about all of the other amazing and really awesome things that we've discovered throughout the week. I'm Kirk.
And I'm Zach. And yeah, I discovered something that I felt like it's important to people, and I feel like it's timely because how much research have you done on hangovers? Is that something that you have looked into at all?
I have looked into a little bit. I have looked into it a little bit. I remember I was going on a cruise, and cruises are notorious for over imbibing, because you don't got to go anywhere. You're just there. And you're just at a pool, and you're just going to drink all these really sweet,
you can't drive
and stuff like that. You don't got to worry about anything. Anyway, I got this sample of this stuff. It was supposed to be a hangover cure. I think I had seen it on Shark Tank, and the stuff freaking worked, dude.
Really?
It legit worked. It worked. Yeah. Anyway, and they had a whole brochure of why it worked, but that's where I was like, that's really fascinating. So yeah, that's my extent of looking into hangovers.
Yeah, I mean, some random guy giving you a bottle of something on a ship is
no.
Okay, so I started wondering about this because I saw an article, but first let's start here. Apparently, F. Scott Fitzgerald said that the hangover became a part of the day, as well allowed for as the Spanish siesta in the 20s. And so these things were very understood for a long time, but it was first described more than 3,000 years ago in an Indian textbook on meditation. Basically, it was paramada, a post-drinking condition characterized by thirst, pain in the head and joints, and heaviness of the body with no known cure. And since then, for 3,000 years, we've been plagued by having this. So what causes them? It's once the alcohol in your blood is gone, once you don't have any blood alcohol content, your body metabolizes the compounds in alcohol, and it contains small amounts of methanol, and it breaks that down into formaldehyde and formic acid about 10 hours after you're drinking, and that makes you feel sick. And that's why hair of the dog works, because then you don't start breaking down those things yet. You know what I mean? You like push it off and like try and delay it.
So is the trick to hair of the dog, you've got to drink it before the hangover gets really bad? Or
basically the idea, the idea of hair of the dog is don't let yourself not be drunk yet. Like,
it's basically like coming down slowly, right?
Yes. You're not trying
to get drunk again in the morning, because then you're going to still just have a later hangover.
You might be, but it's not going to help the hangover issue. It's just going to be a 24/7 hangover at some point. But another,
then you're just an alcoholic.
Yeah, I mean there's that. But then the other kind of theory on like why you have symptoms is dehydration. Because it essentially, while you're drinking, it produces antidiuretic, or it decreases the production of antidiuretic hormones. So when you urinate, you lose body fluids and you're not building them back quick enough. So that's where you get like dry mouth. That's where you get the headache, everything like that. But that's just some of the stuff about how this all works. 28% of people say they never experience hangovers. I'm guessing college students, because once you get to Kirk and I's age, it's a real thing. It'll get you.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of questions about like the miracle cure. And like for me, what I would always do is you got to eat something like fatty, and like something like, I would always do something bready too. And essentially, one of the things that this article says is that it lowers your blood sugar levels, and eating carb heavy stuff can restore these. So it just makes you feel better on one level, not on all of them. So like, yeah, if you eat a breakfast, it'll do it. Some ancient remedies, maybe slightly odder. The Romans recommended raw owl's eggs. So if you have any owl's eggs around, just try
climb a tree while I'm drunk to make sure that I don't get a hangover.
No, it's while you're hungover. No, it's the hangover cure. Ancient Assyrians, they did ground birds' beaks and myrrh.
Oh, God.
Mongol warriors ate pickled sheep's eyes.
Sheep's eyes.
I don't see anything about snorting it. I think that's really up to the user.
Oh, remember in Kazam? Shazam? It was Kazam.
Yeah,
remember
Kazam.
The bad guy was eating all the sheep's eyes in the limo, and it was real weird and gross.
Yep. And then in medieval Europe, they recommended raw eels and bitter almonds. But basically, there's been a billion ways to try to figure out a hangover.
A lot of those sound like, hey, we're going to make you puke really quick, and then you're going to feel a little bit better. That's what that sounds like. Eat raw eels.
Yeah, eat some pickled sheep's eyes. You're going to feel better soon.
Gross.
Yeah. So the reason I kind of wondered about this is because I saw an article about what would happen in Victorian England for like homeless people. And the thing that I saw that was interesting, they had something called penny sit-ups, which is literally you would pay a penny and a homeless person could sit up on a bench all night in a hall so they could get inside. They'd pay a penny to get inside. But there was something called a 2-penny hangover, and I got to switch to the video for this one so everybody can see it.
Explain the penny one again.
It just means that like if you were homeless, you could pay a penny in Victorian England, and they would let you sit inside a building.
So you couldn't sleep. You couldn't like lay down on the bench. You could only sit.
You could sit up.
Okay,
yeah, you could just sit there.
Okay.
Yeah, you could just sit there. But then there's this, the 2-penny hangover, and I'm going to switch to so everybody can see this. It's in the chat too. What you're seeing right here in this part of the screen, for an extra penny, they would hang a rope, and you could throw your arms over it, and you could just sleep standing up, hanging on a rope. And they think this is part of where the word hangover came from, is that you literally...
Oh my gosh.
Like, can you imagine trying to sleep like this? But here's my favorite part down here. The rope would unceremoniously cut at 5 or 6 a.m. They would just walk up and cut the ropes, and you just all eat it. God. Victorian England, those people were dicks. Like, why do that? Man. And then, once they cut the rope, they got all the homeless out. But yeah, but like it was funny because there was usage from hangover of like you had work before, and it's the hangover. You have the hangover work is the stuff you have to do the next day. But then you have these 2-penny hangovers that were widely used by drunk sailors. And then that probably added a little bit to it. But as a bonus, they also have what they called Salvation Army coffins, which, as you see down here, are wooden boxes in a giant thing. And I think it was four pennies for this. And you could it was 4 or 5 pennies.
So you
and
go
you could.
sleep in the coffin?
It's not actually coffins. It's a wood box. It just looks like a row of coffins.
So it's basically like instead of bunk beds, they just put a bunch of little boxes so you stay in that area. That's
Yes,
so
they try and at
weird.
least contain you to your own
I thought
space.
those were all dead people.
They're not. They're not dead people. Don't worry, everybody. That's just boxes where people would sleep.
So weird. So weird. Well, guys, I have a discovery that was brought from the community from our Discord. So if you want to be part of the Discord, feel free, and we'll have the link in the show notes and everything like that. But this was brought to us by our friend Twiggly Bits. She shared this one, and it's all about relaxing forest sounds. And okay, at first I was like, "Oh, that's cool," and then I listened to it, and it kind of blew my mind. So you can listen to relaxing sounds of forests from all around the world for free online. Research shows that spending time in nature is good for your health. Simply taking a walk in the forest can ease stress and help us think more clearly. In fact, in Japan, which I love this, I will say I love this when I read it. I didn't know it was a thing, but it sounds awesome. And I'm going to start using this term, the American term, not the Japanese term, because I'll forget it. They have a term for doing this. It's called Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. I love it. It gets its name from the metaphoric way one can bathe in the forest's atmosphere. This means experiencing the forest through our five senses, from simply looking at the beauty of the environment to smelling the scents of the trees. Woodlands provide a full sensory adventure. However, one of the most powerful benefits of the forest is how it sounds. And thanks to Tree.fm, you can listen to the relaxing sounds of nature from the comfort of your home. So there's this website, and it's Tree.fm. Zach, pull it up. I want to be able to share this.
All right, let's see. I think we're both going to have to be very quiet when we listen to this, and let us know if you can't hear this.
So people from around the world have recorded the sounds of their forests so you can escape into nature while in lockdown or unable to travel. They say use this site to chill, meditate, or do some digital Shinrin-yoku. And they've got forests from like everywhere. They got California forests. They've got like the redwood forest. They've got
this one is Norway, the one that I have pulled up right now.
There we go. Yep. Let's listen to the forest from Norway.
All right, here we go. Let me know if everybody can hear this or not. It's a little quiet. Makes me want to take a nap.
Oh, man.
It's so relaxing. So good. Can I just leave this on in the background of what we're talking about right now?
Let's do it. But yeah, Tree.fm, and they've also partnered with like some other company called Ecosia, which is a search engine that donates at least 80% of its profits to nonprofit organizations that focus on reforestation. So they like, it's just, I love the ethos of what this is. It's just like peace and nature, and it's beautiful.
No,
if you listen to that while wearing cans or something, like I swear it just takes you to a different place.
Oh no,
close your eyes.
I'm very relaxed,
and it's a different level. It's great.
No, I always loved nature sounds so much. Apparently, even going back to when I was a baby, because when I was being like fussy as like a very young baby, they had a video. I think you can find it on YouTube now. It's called Loon Country by Canoe. And it's literally just a guy for 30 minutes paddling a canoe in loon country, obviously.
Yeah,
so you hear the birds, you hear just him paddling, you hear just nature. And apparently it knocked me out every time. I've wanted to test it. See if I watch it right now, if I'm just going to pass out immediately. That would be hilarious if it still worked. But yeah, no, I used to meditate to this type of soundscape too. It was amazing. But yeah, that's
so thank you, Twiggly Bits, for
great
sharing that in the
discovery.
Discord. It's awesome. Love it.
So I guess I'll pause this. I can just hear the birds though. So I discovered that the next level of wind turbine is here. Literally here, I'm going to switch over so you can see the scale of this thing. This is a New York Times article
Does
of,
it kill all the birds?
I'm sure it does murder the birds. No, I think I heard that if you put like a different color on it, it doesn't kill the birds. It's not like a thing. So this thing is gigantic. It's so large, it's difficult to photograph. It is 2 American football fields end to end in diameter. Look at the scale of this. Here's the Empire State Building, 1,000 feet. This wind turbine is 850 feet.
Wow. That thing is
gigantic.
Huge.
So what is interesting about this one, this is a GE one, and in the end, this will be a, what do they call it? Offshore wind turbine. So it'll be in the ocean somewhere. But this is a third more powerful than anything else we've experienced so far. So literally this thing is so intense with what it's doing that it's changed all of the models for how this can work. They say that literally one of these can light up a town of 12,000 homes.
Whoa.
And it literally could potentially change how we're looking at this at all. Because, and I mean, this picture gives you a little bit of the scale of the thing, and I'm sure it's nightmare fuel to be on top of it. I would be dying. I couldn't do that. But they still have a long way to go of figuring out essentially how to make this profitable, how to get the supply chain going, how to get everything so that it makes sense to do. But it feels like every single day we're finding out more cool stuff technology wise. So we're always finding new ways to do these things. And then if that could power 12,000 homes with one of them offshore, like what is the potential of using wind power?
It's so, I don't know. We've talked about this so many times on our show. It's like we can do things better. And I think it's fascinating and exciting to see when technology goes forward. And I've always thought, I'm not super hardline stance on some of the ecology stuff, but I have always thought that we should definitely take care of our environment, and we can always do better. And we should strive to do better. And this is steps in that direction.
This episode of Discovery Weekly is sponsored by The Pop Culture Show. The Pop Culture Show is a show that gets into the nitty-gritty in the world of TV, music, movies, and celebrity news. It isn't hosted by just anybody. This show is hosted by 3 friends that have known each other for more than 30 years and have a long tenure in the entertainment industry.
All 3 hosts, Barnes, Leslie, and Cubby, worked or are currently working in radio or TV production. They've worked for Billboard, Rolling Stones. One of them still works at CMT and a bunch of other places in between. I swear they've all worked in every part of media you can possibly work in. They have their finger on the pulse of pop culture. And I've listened to a few of their shows, and I've actually learned a lot about what I should be looking to watch during, this time of year on streaming services like Netflix or Apple TV or Prime Video and all these other things. And also, they talk about a bunch of other different things, including interviews. They do some really good interviews with because like I said, they're very connected. So they've had Goldberg, the WWE champ. They've had rock stars like Jewel or Butch Walker or Collective Soul. And my personal favorite, and an episode that I have to go listen to, they have Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers. I love that show. But not only that, one of my discoveries this week on Discovery Weekly came from this show. So I discovered something from here.
Yeah, it's amazing. Basically, it's just a really fun hour-long ride through the halls of pop culture that leaves you laughing, informed, and excited for the next episode of the Pop Culture Show. Find out more about them at popcultureshow.com or anywhere you listen to podcasts. This week's episode is also brought to you by Free Lunch Coffee. If you're like us, you almost always start your day with a cup of coffee, and that cup of coffee works wonders for you and makes a big difference in your day. What if I told you that drinking a cup of coffee could impact someone else's day too? With Free Lunch Coffee, you get to make a difference in the world with every cup of coffee. When you buy a bag of Free Lunch Coffee, you're not only getting great organic, fair trade coffee, but you're providing 10 meals to a child in need.
They also offer a 100% money-back guarantee for 30 days if you don't absolutely love the coffee. We love companies that are trying to make a difference. I mean, that's a lot of what our show talks about. And when we saw that we had an opportunity to be sponsored by Free Lunch Coffee, we jumped right on it. And I've made my first order for sure. We haven't gotten it yet, but I'm excited to drink that coffee with Zach at work. And for a limited time, if you use the code DISCOVERY at checkout, you can get 10% off your next order. So yeah, go to freelunchcoffee.com. Don't forget to use the promo code DISCOVERY at checkout and make a difference in your morning and also make a difference in the world. So I always like to do a little bit of research when we're going to do any ad for any of the people that we're trying to get to sponsor us on the show. And I was listening to one of the people that have sponsored this show and a few of the other PDS episodes, and it was the Pop Culture Show. And they interviewed the guy that made this new thing that's coming out in 2021, and it is called the FanControlled Football League. So it's amazing because it's happening here on Twitch, and it sounds crazy, but the thing is, it sounds just crazy enough that it might work, because XFL and all these other things that they've tried to do these other leagues with, they're just like the NFL, just crappier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like it's there's nothing different about it other than the names. And okay, they're gonna be more rough or something. I don't know. They always had some stupid little gimmick, but it was nothing.
Yeah, it's usually not enough.
Nothing really to grab you. Well, this is completely different. And the thing that they talk about in the interview on what I was listening to, which I don't even think that you've talked about in here, is they're going to do this in a bubble in Atlanta. So all the teams are going to live right there, but they're going to play all the games in the same stadium, which is kind of going to change a lot of the dynamic, because they're going to be able to have drones getting footage you'll never see at a football game. They're going to have like crazy lighting, and it's going to look awesome visually. But the craziest thing is that the fans that are watching it are going to be able to call the plays and are going to be able to like have a lot of control of what goes on the field. And they're going to do it all through Twitch. They have partnered with Twitch to have like specific extensions. Like, I don't know if you know what a Twitch extension is if you're listening to this, but it's literally an overlay where you click on something on the screen and you can vote. So let's say that this team's gonna go for it on fourth down. 4 options come up, and you, as a viewer, get to pick, and everybody gets to vote. And whichever one is voted for the most is the play that they're gonna do. It seems fascinating. In this article that I have in here,
I'm so curious about how this is all going to play out in reality. You know what I mean?
And they've got some celebrities, man. They've got like Marshawn Lynch. They've got Johnny Manziel, which was a huge name in college football, but then he was just kind of a catastrophe.
Yeah, I feel like he had mental health issues coming into the league like that.
Yeah. So let me read a little bit of this article. It says, in the internet age, sports fans are smarter than they've ever been, and we have access to so much more information.
So they know debatable.
Well, we have access to more.
Yeah, the access is there. It's true.
I don't think. Yeah. They know when player X's contract expires or how player Y's new deal will count against the salary cap in 2 years. And we know every little detail and every transaction plays out. And I get that. You know, it kind of, I don't know. We know everything. That's why I like fantasy football. I don't like fantasy football. I think it's goofy, but it's like D&D for jocks, but whatever. And some people love it. But this is a different level of fantasy football, man. Welcome to FanControlled Football, where the fans control everything. The league made news on Wednesday when it announced that it had signed former NFL QB Johnny Manziel. Now fans will select him, decide whether to start him, and then pick what plays to have him run. Yes, you read that correctly, and it's exactly what it sounds like. This is a real, actual football league where fans control everything about their team, from the name of it to the coaches they sign and the decisions those same coaches make. So they've got Richard Sherman. They've got
Richard
Marshawn
Sherman's
Lynch.
there?
Yes. They've got, I think, a rapper as well.
Why not?
Why not? Right? These are like the coaches and, quote unquote, like, I guess, managers of the teams. But like, even the names of these teams were picked by fans already. It seems fascinating. Let's be honest. We don't know if it's going to work, but I will say it's a really interesting idea, and I'm excited to see if it works. And if anything were to work that's not the NFL, it might be something like this because it's just different enough, man.
Yeah, no, you're trying to turn the NFL into Madden.
Like,
No,
they're not kicking, they're not doing punts, they're not doing extra points. The one of the things that they mentioned in the interview that I was like, what? Because I think they've kind of pinpointed no one gets super excited about kicking an extra point. There is no fourth down. You have to go for it on fourth down every time. And throughout the week, the fans get to do like extra things to get their team a fifth down. So like once a week, one of the teams will be granted, because of the fans, one fifth down. So you get to be able to use it whenever you think you're close enough to the first down to be able to use a fifth down and get it. But also, I think instead of the 3-pointer as a kick, I think it was like a one-on-one with a receiver and a defensive person and the QB. So, like basically what you do in your backyard. Mm-hmm. So that's the 3-pointer essentially. I don't know. It sounds like they've changed the things that are boring about football, and it sounds pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
No, I will definitely check that out for sure. That sounds extremely interesting. By the way, you said some rapper. That's Quavo. It's from Migos. He's like a very famous. These people are like famous.
Sorry, I'm not.
No, I'm just saying, like, Johnny Manziel is the least famous out of this. Like, Marshawn Lynch was a really great player. Like,
Marshawn Lynch is funny too. That dude has character. He had like a small show. I don't know what it was or where it was. I saw it like on Netflix or something. No, it wasn't Netflix. It was on like YouTube. Mm-hmm. And he was like traveling the world and like meeting people, but he's so funny. He's a funny guy. Funny. And he always had Skittles.
He always was funny. Like, just, I don't know. He is a character.
He had his quirks, and it was always great. And he was really good at football. Man,
he was.
I could run a ball.
Yeah, he definitely could. But yeah, I think the last one we want to show you guys this week, we definitely are going to have to break out the website camera here so you guys can see what all this is, because they put out, NASA being they, put out 3,000 Days on Mars, like a retrospective, so Curiosity Rover has been there since 2012. And so they put together, the BBC just put together an article documenting some of the amazing stuff that Curiosity has been able to capture. And all of this will be linked in the show notes as well. But Curiosity has generated images of Mars where, like, before, that was essentially science fiction at the time, but you get things like this.
These pictures look crazy, man. They're so beautiful.
Instead of it being some like science fiction type thing, it looks like the desert, and you see just this lonely robot. I think they could make a sequel to WALL-E with Curiosity wandering around on Mars, just taking samples. But you just see so many of these like awesome land features, and all of this stuff is so high quality. And so it really just,
it's crazy. Like this one picture, it says this stunning panorama is the highest resolution panorama yet of the Martian surface. It has 1.8 billion pixels in this picture.
I wonder if we can get even bigger. Why does it let me click on 1.8? Oh, here we go. We can zoom it in, because this is how you can really tell. That's high def. No, but just some of the stuff that Curiosity's been able to do is incredible. And then you start looking at like what's going to be happening on the moon in the next 20 years, and it's going to be incredible too. So overall, just pretty amazing stuff. So definitely check out this article, because you can see a lot of amazing content that Curiosity's been able to capture rolling around on Mars by itself for a long time.
Yeah, they've got like pictures of like all the probe sites where they've like drilled into the Martian surface and tested the soil and stuff like that. and then they've got like a picture of Curiosity by, what was it, a different satellite that's going over like around Mars, which was
orbiter,
the reconnaissance
orbiter.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool picture. Ooh, a dust devil. There's a video of a dust devil on Mars. That's awesome.
Here, I'm gonna switch this over so they can see the dust devil. Here you go. We're
There's
gonna take a look
ad.
at the dust devil. Oh, is there? Oh no. Oh no,
20,
not on mine.
30-second ad.
Look, there it goes.
30-second ad.
Not on ours. Yeah, you can watch it on the stream. No ads. But yeah, no, these things literally science fiction 20 years ago. And so it's just incredible to look back on. There's the selfie.
How did it do that?
Of Curiosity. I don't know. I'm not sure how it took a selfie. Let's see.
Doesn't say. It is a real one. It's not like a rendering.
I wonder if it puts like a camera somewhere and drives away from it. It looks amazing though. Like, I don't know.
It's beautiful.
It's just so cool to see Mars as a real thing with real features instead of just trying to imagine it.
But yeah, we're space nerds, so we love looking at these kind of pictures, and I know that a lot of our listeners are as well. So yeah, guys, that was our first episode of 2021 of the Discovery Weekly Podcast, and we're so excited to just kick it off, and we got a lot of things in store. We're so excited for how the podcast is going to change and evolve this year.
We definitely are, and we could not do it without you. So thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it, and we hope you get in touch.
Yep, don't forget, we have a hotline. We also have the Podcast Discovery Club. We have a Discord. That's where some of these discoveries were found today. And you can follow us on Twitter. All of that will be in the show notes. And guys, we will talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Talk to you next week.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.